Hey, everybody, this is Craig Garber. Welcome to Everyone Loves Guitar. We've got a repeat guest with one of the best keyboardists, most seasoned keyboardists out there, Ed Roth. Ed was on the show like about a year ago, and then I had the good fortune of hanging out with Ed when he was down here one night. He's an awesome guy, funny as hell, very, very cool, straightforward, and he's got a new record out, and I wanted to turn you guys on to it. And also, if you never heard Ed's initial interview, what I'm going to do is if you're listening to the audio of this, I'm going to put his initial interview on the back end so you can check it out. He's a great guy. All righty. Before we get started, just want to let you know if you're listening to this on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. And if you're not, go to everyonelovesguitar.com/subscribe and subscribe to the audio and the video. All righty. You may not be familiar with Ed Roth's name, but you've definitely heard him play. He's toured, recorded, or been the music director with the brothers Johnson, Annie Lennox, Taylor Dane, Ronnie Montrose, Robby Krieger, who he plays with all the time now, Keith Emerson, Glenn Hughes, Rob Halford, Chad Smith, Sophie B, Hawkins, Tom Morello, Chris Impellitteri, the rapper Coolio. He's also doing some gigs now with Joe Walsh and Dennis Quaid, the actor. He's also a member of Chad Smith's Bombastic Meatbats. Is that done, or is there going to be anything else coming out of that?
Maybe we'll do another record with John back in the Chili Peppers. I have a feeling they're going to be doing a lot of writing and recording.
Yeah, I'm sure, man.
I think his dance card's pretty full, but he came out and did I do the Medlock. Robby Krieger has a benefit each year with Scotty Medlock. Scotty is the PGA Tour artist. He's an amazing painter, and they put on a benefit every year. And this year I talked Chad into coming out, and it was fun. Still playing better than ever.
When does that take place? What time of year?
Usually it's October. With the whole pandemic, we'll see what's going to happen this year.
Yeah. You'll be Zooming it. Ed's a first call session player in LA. He's got 3 solo jazz records of his own. One called Ed Roth, the other one Mad Beatnik. On the Mad Beatnik, he had 2 top 10 iTunes jazz singles in Europe. Mad Beatnik featured Tom Scott on sax and the aforementioned, I've never used that word, that's ridiculous. The aforementioned, I sound like a fucking lawyer, Chad Smith on drums, and it was number 25 on iTunes Jazz in the US. So that means if you are a jazz person, you want to listen to a great record, check out Mad Beatnik by Ed Roth. His new record is called Can't Find My Way Home. It features Robby Krieger on guitar on 2 of the tracks. This is a really cool record. It's a record of 8 covers of classic rock songs. Only Ed came up with some really cool arrangements. And just so you know ahead of time, this is not like the smooth jazz version of Can't Find My Way Back Home or some Pink Floyd stuff. This is like really cool arrangements, very good, and I really enjoyed the record. And Ed also does composing and scoring for film and TV. Dude, thank you so much. It's always good to see you. You're hilarious.
Well, thanks for having me on, and thanks for the non-smooth jazz disclaimer.
Well, it's not. It was a really cool record.
Yeah, smooth jazz is like translation is not jazz. That's what it's become. It used to be cool, but not so much anymore.
It's like Marlboro Lights. It's like light jazz, but maybe really, really light jazz.
Really light. Nothing against it, you know. It's
nothing against it. No,
not my thing.
Are you allowed to say that? It's something is not your thing anymore. I don't even know. Are we allowed to say that?
Point.
I don't know. We may have to delete.
Might need to edit that a little bit
out. Man, what prompted you to make another record, man? I give you credit because it's, there's not a lot of motivation in some ways to make records for a lot of people.
Making music is either something you do or you don't do. And I understand that it's such a hassle for some of the major artists. It costs them so much to do it. They wind up losing so much. I mean, what do they say? How do you make a lot of money in the music business? Spend even more. I mean, it's that even more, but you want to make a great recording. You want to reach people. And there's a joy in the process of the recording. It's just kind of what I do. Honestly, without music, my life doesn't really make much sense. So,
you know what? I never told you this, but anytime I mention your name, because doing this, I run into people. We all know a lot of the same people. Everybody I've ever mentioned your name to, no bullshit, has said, "Oh my God, that guy is amazing. He can play anything. He never plays any wrong notes." I don't think I told
Wow.
you. Yeah. I mean,
Thank you.
everybody.
That's
Yeah, everybody. So,
kind of humbling, but I play plenty of wrong notes, but
well,
thank you. That makes me feel good.
yeah. And I like heavy cats. Yeah. Um, what made you do a record of covers, and like, how did you decide which tracks you wanted to put in?
Originally jazz, to reach more of the mainstream, they would do cover tunes. I mean, originally jazz, that's what it was, and they would flip it. There was a lot of I've got rhythm changes, which is the same set of changes, and they'd super chord changes. They'd put a different melody on the top or maybe twist a chord. But then guys would take standards of the time that were popular songs and flip them. They'd reharmonize them a little bit. They'd change the groove. And, honestly, the label was like, well, you should do a covers record. And I'd messed with doing rock covers before as a trio on my first record. I don't know which ones it's on. I have a flip of "Who Are You" by the Who that I put
Oh,
together.
cool.
It's interesting. It's it's different.
I got it. That takes balls to cover that track. There's a lot going on in that track, man. That's good for you, man.
Such a powerful. That's really what you want to find in songs, is that they have some kind of spiritual, not spiritual, like spiritual, some kind of spirit that you feel,
Yeah.
something that moves you, whether it's a powerful song or a powerful melody, whether it's dark. Happy songs have their place too, but not always my favorite. But
I'm like that too. I prefer a darker song. Yeah.
the label had me, the old label I was on had me remake an Ambrosia song, "Biggest Part of Me." And like, for example, something like that, you have to flip it or it's going to be happy. I made that a full shuffle.
Did
And
you?
I gave it I gave it these sus chords. I gave it a kind of a work to do feel, the Isley's tune.
Right.
And I put that on it, and it came out good. It's a challenge to do that. It's a challenge to make something interesting, and then to whittle it down to mostly solo piano was a real challenge.
Yeah, I would imagine without sounding like smooth jazz light, Yeah.
Yeah, you got to tweak the chords, you got to tweak the melody, and you got to have a spirit with it. Like the song "Can't Find My Way Home," I slowed it way down.
Yeah.
And the melody is so strong. I think that's the biggest thing that I think you have to have when you're flipping a tune instrumentally. You can get away on a vocal tune without the melody being quite as strong because there are words to grab onto.
Right.
Think about rap. I mean, there isn't a melody, but yet people they'll come up with a great phrase, a catchy phrase that doesn't stop. I mean, I was lucky. When I played with Coolio, he would put a vocal hook, a musical chorus, and then he would rap on the verses. That's the way it was back in the day. It makes me a grandpa, but I kind of dug. But when you're playing it on piano, if the melody doesn't sing by itself, you're screwed. You can change the chords around it. You can change the groove. You can change the feel, but the melody's the melody. You can't change it much. So it's got to work.
When you slowed that song down, it was really sad, actually. Not the song, not your playing, but the mood. It was like a really sad song. Hearing it's slower.
Ronnie Montrose was a really dear friend, and among other nicknames, he gave me Session Sausage and Jazz and different ones. He used to always tease me that I didn't listen to the lyrics. He's like, they're an important message of the song. And I was like, well, most of the pop music is crap, because don't listen to the pop music, listen to something that's deep. And Can't Find My Way Home, it's not a happy song. No. And yet somehow they're kind of up tempo with it. Not like their original version isn't brilliant. It is. It's brilliant. But what am I going to do with it? I'm not going to beat their version. You're never going to beat somebody's version covering it. So try to do something unique with it.
Man, that is a lot of great logic right there for anybody who's ever attempted a cover tune. You're not going to beat the original. Just do something different. That is really smart, Ed.
Yeah, yet people do. They do watered down covers because they take the safe route and they go, people know this song. So when they click on it or whatever, my version's going to come up and somebody's going to listen to it. They're going to go, oh, yeah, it kind of sounds like the original. Life's too short to do things without taking a chance ever.
I agree with you. That's great, man. That's really good advice. Dude, you're full of brilliant quotes here. We're like 10 minutes into this, and I've got like, life's too short to not take chances.
It is. If there's anything people should be learning from today is how quickly our lives can change.
Oh, God, yeah. Where'd you record this?
At home, actually, where you're seeing. I don't know if you can see the background, but
yeah, man.
Fender Rhodes piano. To the right of me is a grand piano. And out of your line of sight with my fine iPhone, whatever number it is a Hammond B3 in the corner.
Right on, man.
I just did this piano. My friend Ryan Hewitt, brilliant engineer years ago, showed me how to mic the piano, picked out all the gear for me because I was doing remote tracks for him, for different artists. And this piano's been on all kinds of big records.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So you just recorded everything. Did you engineer it yourself? Mix engineer it yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, you did?
Rob Tarango did the two with Robbie on it.
Okay.
And Robbie did his 2 tracks at home.
Okay.
The 2 that he played on. But everything else is here. Very
cool, man. Dude, while you're at it, you're mentioning Robbie. Talk about, you've had a great relationship with Robbie. What is it like playing with Robbie? When I say what it's like, that sounds like a fan question. Like, what is that experience like? What do you get out of that as an experience?
Forgetting anything personal, I'll just say he's one of the nicest, smartest, even, regular guy. I'd say 2 things. One, the love and the passion he has for music still. Robbie is one of those guys that just loves to play, and I'm one of those guys. And they're everybody likes to play music, but some people do gigs and they love being on stage and playing parts and whatever. I love to play music, whether I'm alone in the studio, even better when I'm with friends or guys that listen that I'm playing. Yeah, it's great to be in a bigger arena, but honestly, I play the same way. Like yesterday, we were rehearsing. We were supposed to do a thing for Guitar Center today for their foundation. Robbie's back went out, so we got to move it back. But we're playing. We're just jamming on different stuff that we're not even going to play the next day. I mean, the passion he has for wanting to play, wanting to learn, it rubs off a little bit.
That's awesome.
And I think the other thing with him is he never plays the stock shit. He sounds like Robbie, but he doesn't always grab from the same bag. He always tries to be creative. He always tries to do something that's different and unique. And, like when he played on my stuff, you ask somebody to play on your music, you're asking them a favor, right? And the 2 tunes he played on, I hadn't originally planned on having anybody play on them, but he heard them and he was like, oh, I'll play on that if you want. I was like, great.
Yeah.
But there's no click. You can feel the time. It's kind of breathing and it's fine. But when you go try to play to a track like that, it's probably not the easiest. He not only took the time to feel where my pocket was, but if you listen to it, you can hear he's playing off of everything that I'm doing. It's not like he's playing in a vacuum. It sounds like we're 2 guys in the room playing it at the same time to me.
Yes. I noticed it had some great fills in there, man. That's why it was really nice having the 2 of you guys together. Really cool fills, and it totally made sense and matched everything you were doing.
Yeah, he's one of those players that people probably think, the Doors. And yeah, the Doors were absolutely brilliant. I mean, there's you got the Beatles, you got the Rolling Stones, you got Zeppelin, you got Hendrix, and the Doors.
Absolutely.
We're in there. And I think, again, a lot of guys would just go, yeah, this is what I did, but not Robbie. He wanted to play jazz. He wanted to play all different kinds of music, and he spent his life doing that, even with the early success, and he could have just coasted and, you know, done whatever. Instead, he loves to play. So I just respect that. And I'm lucky. I have some people I work with that are all like that.
That's
Sophie
awesome.
B. Hawkins, still growing, still trying to do new things. Danny Seraphin, Bill Champlin, guys that want to keep growing and keep recording and doing different things. It's beautiful, and it's inspiring, and you have to learn, because you have to roll with them, what they're doing.
Right.
I mean, Joe Walsh is doing different stuff. You know, what a successful career he's had.
God,
you know, doing this. I told you Sarod album for the number one. Sarod is the Indian guitar, basically, for lack of a better description, and it's for Amjad Ali Khan. And you know, you go, why would Joe Walsh do something like that? Because he loves music. Because it's interesting to him. It's something he wants to do. You know, he's excited by music. He doesn't want to play the same thing over and over and over.
Yeah, he's done Barnstorm about 1 million times, I'm sure, from that era, all that stuff, or James Gang stuff, or, you know.
Yeah, I just did a song that I don't think was that popular. It was such a beautiful song. I didn't know it helped me through the night with him.
Oh my God, great song. Yeah.
Really great song.
Really pretty song. Yeah.
Yeah, enjoyed that. Anyway,
song.
blah, blah. Sorry.
No, it's all good, man. Dude, if I want to listen to someone talk, you're the guy. Trust me. What do you I'm laughing because of our prior conversation. What are you looking forward to most once COVID's over?
Ooh. Ooh. I don't even know where to begin. I mean, you know, one of the things that, I mean, music keeps me sane and keeps my life together, but I also, you know, I was getting back into a little bit of martial arts and sparring. I actually put a speed bag platform in my garage because I couldn't do anything and I was going so nuts. It's going to be playing with other guys, playing with different cats. And yeah, it's going to be great to play in front of people. They always say that half of your job is not just to being on stage, it's to hang.
Yeah, of course.
And you get to a point in your career where you're lucky enough, excuse me, you're playing with guys that you get along with and you really like. And that hang is gone. But really, it's playing with other people. And I've been able to do that with Robbie. The new experience we've been working in the studio quite a bit. But somehow when you get out, and even playing in a different studio, you know, there's a joy with that, and there's just a joy with playing with other guys. It's great to have the audience. That helps a lot too, you know, but it's playing with different cats.
Yeah.
That's the joy.
Awesome. Have they opened gyms there yet?
They finally did. I'm probably going to try to go tomorrow. I'm curious what's even going to be there.
Well, they opened them here about 3 weeks ago. I didn't go the first week, but I've been going for the last 2 weeks. The nice thing is it's always empty. No one's there.
Oh, good.
To be honest with you, it's great. But I take, like, you know, I made sure I don't touch my face from the time I go in. And then the second I finish, I run into the bathroom, wash my hands, wash my face. And then I go home and shower and throw all the clothes, you know, because I don't know what I've been touching. But I'm so happy to be back in the gym, man. I know how you feel.
Yeah, for me, it's going to be the pool.
Yeah.
Because there's no way to go to a pool. They've closed in California here. They even closed people's pools in apartment complexes.
Yeah, I heard that, and they closed certain state parks too. I think I was told
A lot of parks.
Yeah,
and you figure a pool's got so much chlorine in it. It's I mean, I don't know. We'll see where it goes, but I'll be happy to get in the water again.
Good, man. I'll tell you, it was funny. You might suffer this. I'm fairly strong, only because I've been working out a very long time, but I'm like at 50% capacity and I'm crying like a bitch every day. I cannot believe how sore I am. This is like when I first started working out 30 years ago. I could not believe how out of shape. I've learned I don't usually take time off, but being older and getting older now, I realize I'm never going to take time off because I never want to feel this again.
Oh no, because we're what? I guess it's going to be 3 months. I haven't really swam.
Yeah, you'll be sucking wind a little bit, probably.
Oh.
You're in great shape though, man. I don't know. You look like you have good genetics because you're in fantastic shape. Like you look like
I'm lucky. I mean, I'm a mix. I'm a Brazilian Jew. You're not going to see that many of me.
You're not going to see that many of me. That's
I mean, one of the things I like to do, and you're going to laugh, I actually miss setting up my gear. I know that sounds funny.
No, that makes sense. I get that.
One of the greatest things when I first started doing well was having a tech and showing up at the gig and being able to leave at the end of the gig. And I'm not going to lie, there's no joy in tearing your gear down at the end of the night. I mean, that's not the most fun. But there's something that I miss from when I was setting up my gear at the beginning of gigs. There's some gigs, I like my own gear. It's a new world for the music business. That was a lot of exercise.
Yeah. That's good, man. This was your third solo record. Anything?
It's actually number 4.
Oh, it's your 4th. I missed one, man. I'm sorry.
It was straight ahead jazz. And as I've learned, straight ahead jazz, if the label doesn't get behind it, which they didn't much, it didn't do that well. But it was solo piano, jazz covers. It was a hell of a challenge. Again, I tried to flip everything that I did. I put vamps on stuff. I tried to do unusual things. And I think it's a cool record. But this one is really unusual. And I think if people actually give it a listen, just listen to one of the tracks I did with Robbie. I think, like it or not, at least they're going to go, okay, I know how he plays. That's Ed Roth. Okay.
Yeah.
I think it sounds like anybody else, for better or for worse.
So let's talk about a couple of the tracks I really dig. Us and Them, the old Pink Floyd song. Just you and Robbie, really cool arrangement on that. I felt it was really different though, hearing you play that, simply because I've listened to that track 100 times over the course of my life, at least. And the Rick Wright, just that track is so ingrained in me. It was really cool to hear, like, oh, this is Us and Them, but it's not Rick Wright. It's totally different, What made you pick that track, and how did you come up with that arrangement? Because I got to believe we're pretty close to the same age, I'm sure. And I got to believe you heard that track 100 times in your life as well.
I love that album. I mean, Rick Wright was a total unsung hero. I mean, what a brilliant, some of the stuff so different. His Rhodes work, even on something like Money, where the Rhodes is not dominant, and you think about the sax solo. If you take away his Rhodes, that whole track, it's not the same. And then
everybody in that band knew that. They all said it quite a lot.
Once in a while, they turn him loose. Shine On You Crazy Diamond. The synth is just brilliant.
Yeah.
I love the song, and I love the melodies from that part of Dark Side of the Moon. They just stick with you. They just sing, and I just thought they'd translate. I've heard other people do kind of watered down versions of it, or try to do rock versions of it where it's the same thing without a vocal. And that one, I didn't flip that one as much as something like Smoke on the Water. Smoke on the Water, people hear it and they're either, wow, you're a dick for doing that to that. Or they're like, wow, that's cool,
No, it was cool. But how did you come up? Okay, so my question really is, like, when you have something like Us and Them, that's like part of your DNA musically, how do you come up with a new arrangement? It's got to be hard then, like, as opposed to something that maybe you've heard 20 times or 5 times. Even though you like it, it's different.
It's definitely harder. You just have to take the melody and make sure the melody is, you're playing it to where you're making it sing and you can feel it. And then I just kind of go to sleep, and then I fool around on the piano the next day and see what I find. And you just find different chords. I mean, there are formulas to jazz, but I'm self-taught,
I was
so I
going to
don't
say,
know.
yeah, I know you're self-taught. That's awesome.
I don't know those formulas. I don't know what you're supposed to do. I just hear it. I think years of being a studio musician, you'll play what you think is exactly right for the track. I mean, I just had this with something, a well-known tune that someone is doing a remake, and they're like, "Oh, we want your spin," and I put something down, and I was like, "Well, this is definitely it." And the guy writes back, "Yeah, not what I'm looking for." And you have to go, "Well, okay, what else can I do with that?" Because it's not my track. I'm working for another producer. I'm trying to fulfill his vision, not what I
Right.
think is right. So you just go, okay, let me be creative. What else can I do? And you fool around until you try something different. And then the next thing I sent him is like, oh, that's it. That's great. And it's the same thing. You just work at it. I mean, some of them come really easy. Some of them don't.
Yeah. That song
Us
was
and them.
really pretty.
Oh, thanks. Us and Them was one of the easier ones, to be honest.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's a really pretty song. You and Robbie sounded good. And then you got Brain Damage and Eclipse, which to me, the song Brain Damage, what a segue, between the first part of the record and the second one. And Eclipse is like one of the greatest closing songs ever.
Oh, yeah.
When you arrived at the end of that song, how did you feel?
I mean, that's the other brilliant thing about those songs is they're connected.
Right.
It's like, I don't want to go, oh, it's like a symphony, it's the third movement and they're connected. But an album used to be that way, a really great album. And they went one more and you really felt like it was one song continuing rather than, and morphing a little bit, changing a little bit rather than that. And I tried to get that feeling. If you actually listen to the album, there shouldn't be anyway, at least any real space between the songs.
No, there wasn't.
And just like you're saying, you get to the end and you're going, well, it feels like it's done. And
Yeah.
that's what you try to build it. You try to tell a story. I mean, that's one that Rick, that he really, that Rick Wright really got loose a little bit on that one. Some of that synth is just beautiful with the delay on it.
Mm.
Who's not going to be influenced by that when they hear that?
I don't know, man. I think it would be impossible, but.
So I did my little fake delay on the piano. You hear me doing it. I mean,
Sounds great, man. It's a good arrangement.
Thank you.
I actually thought it took a lot of balls to do those songs because some of them, like these, are so iconic, So I thought as you said, hold on a minute. You said, life is too short to not take risks. Yeah. And I thought you did a great job of that.
There's a couple. Yeah. I mean, there's a couple that I didn't put on the album. Like I did Strawberry Letter 22,
wow. Yeah. Brothers Johnson.
Yeah. And I did a flip of that. I think I haven't listened to it in a while. And Strawberry Letter 23, excuse me. I think I did a 6/8 with it, which is I couldn't figure
Holy
out.
crap.
I couldn't figure out what to do with it that's different. At one point, I was in the studio with George and his son. His son at the time was doing Will Smith stuff. His son is a brilliant producer, really. And they were doing a remake of Land of Ladies. And some of the stuff, it becomes difficult to flip, but you gotta do something. Otherwise, what is it? It's just a watered down, weak version of the original.
Yeah.
You got to try to do something with it. I don't know. Those songs meant something to me. Those were songs that really stuck out, and then they were able to translate.
Well, it's great. The record sounds great. Hang on, I'm just making another note of another great quote you said. You're like Yoda now, man. I'm telling you. And then you had two cool tracks, Take a Walk on the Wild Side and Lenny. And those are Lenny in particular, it was really different hearing that on piano.
Yeah.
What do you like most about those tracks? And I was curious, just out of curiosity, did you ever see Lou Reed or Stevie Ray Vaughan in concert?
I used to see Stevie Ray when I lived in Texas even before he was on a national stage, and he was playing as well or better back then. He was just a force of nature to see live. I mean, and two songs that he would do that were out of the Stevie Ray character, I think, of the super rock and blues were Riviera Paradise and Lenny.
Yeah, both of these beautiful songs.
And Lenny, just such a lyrical melody. I mean, just gorgeous, and the changes move in such a unique way. That one I didn't flip that hard, but I think probably it sounds so different on piano anyway that
it really does. It really does. I didn't know what to expect, but it sounded great. But it was just, wow, this is very, you notice it because, again, what you've heard a million times.
I think the thing is hopefully conveying emotion, and again, not watering down a rock track, and that's what I was going for. Hopefully, I achieved that to some extent.
No, I think you achieved it to a very great extent, man. It's a nice record, man. Everything is cool in there, and it's really cool to hear these different arrangements. What did you like best about making the record?
That maybe I got the lame response for this one. It's the challenge in doing the recording, but I like every step of it. When you've got to do a solo, when you're playing solo piano, you're everything, right?
Yeah.
You're the time, and you're the melody, and you're the chords. So somehow you have to keep all those three things going and not, again, sound watered down. And yeah, that's, it's a challenge because you want something to swing, right? For something to swing, there's got to be a reference. If there's nobody keeping time that's playing straight, then everything just sounds out of time. So nothing's swinging, it's just out of time. So somehow you have to establish a flow and where people can feel the pulse of it without having to play all the time.
Man, I never thought about that. Yeah, without a rhythm section, I never had to because I'm not like a keyboardist. That's really that's really true and like a serious thing you got to deal with.
I think maybe my favorite part, and you're going to laugh at this, the benefit of that is if I want to make a left turn, and I'm one of those, people that have played with me will tell you that I'm one of those spontaneous players, maybe too much, that I'll play something different almost every time. And I won't even know what I'm playing most of the time. And I'll hear it back and I'll go, oh, I played that. And I'll go, yeah, you had a little clam here. Can you play that same lick, but, without the little extra note? And I'll go, well, I got to learn it.
Yeah.
Doing this, there's no band. So if I wanted to make a left turn in solos, which I did all over the place, Midnight Rider, I'm just improvising. When I get out of the head, I'm not just improvising over chords. I'm improvising the whole section. I don't know where I'm going to go chordally. There were a couple songs like that. Eclipse is another one. You hear me go out of key. It's not something that I wrote a little chart and I went, I'm going to go here. I just played it down, and there's such a joy in that kind of freedom. And you hope for when you play in a band that you play with guys that will hear that. And, bands like some of the old bands, Cream was a master of that. A lot of those bands, back in the day, they could make a left turn and everybody's listening. Their ears are all on it. Always, oh, wow, I've never heard him go there. Okay. When you're alone, you really don't have to worry at all about anybody going. You can just go whoosh, and you're there.
Well, man, I think you did a great job on the record. If assuming life comes back to normal at some point, are you going to be playing out on some of these tunes?
Absolutely. I think when you play as a trio, and there's no singer, you have to really have an exciting show. You can't play breadstick jazz. You can't play all fusion where you're like in my set will be, I'm sure I'll have Lenny. I'm sure I'll have Us and Them. I'm sure I'll have Can't Find My Way Home. Then I'll have some straight ahead jazz tunes, and maybe I'll sneak in Who Are You. There's a couple soundtrack tunes that I bring in. I've got a soundtrack record in the can, kind of done this way.
Awesome.
Like I've got a flip version of The Good, Bad, and the Ugly. And I think if you do those things when you play, you're not limited to a bunch of, I don't know, there's certain markets that are just, they're smaller than others, and they have stereotypes. And I'm not saying all jazz is that way. Every music genre has people that will beat the Bible of that genre. Oh, it's
absolutely
not this. Oh, it's not that. This is wrong. I'm not worried about that. I'm just playing music. It's been a nightmare for the label trying to figure out what genre to promote this in, but that's not my job. My job is to try to create something interesting, and hopefully people will get it.
Man, so two things. Three things. One is, where should people find you online to follow where you might be going out to play?
The usual, probably the best place is Facebook, good old crack book. It's official Ed Roth.
Great.
I apologize to anyone who reaches out to me over that. I am not the best social media guy. I like to play music, so I'm not online like I should be, but I've got a friend that helps me with it. All the stuff is on the different streaming platforms, Spotify, Deezer, Tidal. I'm sure this is on sale on Amazon. I know I should know this stuff, but thankfully there's a label doing it for me.
Right.
Does iTunes even sell songs anymore, or is that over?
I don't know if they sell song. I don't know, man. I have the iTunes. I just pay for all my kids to get it. It's like $15 a month for all of us. I think I'm sure they wouldn't stop selling it for those who want to buy them.
Right. That's always a good place to go. Those are great places to check. And
the other thing is, if somebody wants to work with you to get some tracks done, some keyboard tracks, how do you want them to find you? What's the best?
If they send me a message on Facebook, eventually it'll find my way.
Okay.
It'll find its way. And I've played on everything from super country, turnpike troubadours, Cody Jinks, Americana. I was on one of the Avid Brothers records. You name it. I've done it. R&B, jazz, rock. I do a lot of rock stuff. I think people call me because they want an organic sound. They want someone that plays a real piano, someone that plays a real Hammond B3, a real Wurlitzer. That's my thing. So.
Well, you're freaking good at it. So anybody who wants to work with Ed, and also he's a very, no bullshit, he's a really straightforward guy. He'll tell you the deal about something. He's not going to waste your time. He's not going to say, oh yeah, I can do this track if it's totally nothing he's interested in. So if you want to work with him, you'll get tons of value for your money is what I'm saying. So I would recommend him as a keyboard player any day. So what did we learn here? I want to go over our lesson, Mr. Roth. For you, without music, there is no life. You're a Brazilian Jew, and there's not many of you. Life's too short to not take risks. And I probably missed something else out there, but this was fascinating, as always, Ed. And I'm looking forward to having a drink with you again. Anything else you want to promote, or anything else got going on?
I don't know when the record's going to come out. Robbie and I have a new band. I don't want to say Robbie and I. It's a great group. It's Robby Krieger. It's one of the best bass players on the planet, Kevin Brandon. He goes by Brandino. Plays upright and electric. Was with Aretha for a million years, but plays straight ahead jazz like you can't imagine. Two different drummers depending on the time of year. Dale Alexander played with Prince, or Franklin Vanderbilt's been doing it now, from Lenny Kravitz's band. All truly great musicians. We're all writing together. We have a new album that's almost finished, and the band is devastatingly good.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, there's some talent in there, man. That's awesome. Well, I look forward to that. Any idea? Well, I guess you're going to wait till probably life gets back to, you can't release 2 records under COVID, man.
That's the thing. We'll probably wait a little while. Maybe a single will come out.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
It's funky, it's psychedelic, it's fusion, it's instrumental, and you know, Robbie playing his ass off, Kevin playing his ass off, Dalen Franklin playing their ass off. It's really, but it's music. It's not woodly woodly. There's melodies, there's sections, it's songs.
Dude, you don't do woodly. I know that.
Here's your last one.
In music and in life, you don't do woodly. Go ahead, man. Last one.
The last one for all you guitar players that like the woodly. Nothing against it. But I like to say it's a Little Italy kind of guitar thing, where it's Little Italy. Oh, some of that's okay.
There you go.
Not everything.
I hear you, man. Hey, listen, it's always a pleasure. I would love everybody to check out Ed Roth's new record. It's called Can't Find My Way Home. It's available wherever streaming your service you use. If you want to buy it, it's available on Amazon and all the major retailers. It's a really cool record. Ed's a great guy. Also, go back and check out his other records, man. Mad Beatnik and his first record. What's the other record I missed here? Ed Roth, Mad Beatnik.
Jazzland.
That was your last one, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, man. And check out Jazzland. But he's a very talented keyboard player, man. If you like a guy that really steps out of the box and improvises incredibly well, and that's not per me, that's per like 15 high-end musicians I've talked to. And you know what everybody else says? The thing that really blows them away is that nobody understands how you play so well because you are self-taught. That's the number one thing they say after, like, oh my God, that guy's fucking great. That's always followed by, I don't know how he does this. He's self-taught. You know, your ear is just that powerful, man.
I love music. Thanks so much for having me on the show. It's always a pleasure. Really.
Likewise. Yeah, likewise. Totally. Everybody, please check out Can't Find My Way Back Home. And again, if you didn't hear Ed's initial interview, it's following right up now on audio. On video, you'll have to go back and listen to the audio to hear. Or on YouTube, you can look for Ed's original, but there's no video there. Anyway, Ed, thanks as always, man. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this, please share it on your social media channels. Thanks very much to Ed Roth for coming on. And please check out Can't Find My Way Home and all of Ed's other records, Ed Roth, Mad Beatnik, and Jazzland. Mad Beatnik did really, really well, so maybe you start with that one or something. And that's it, man. Most important, especially nowadays, remember that happiness really is a choice. So make good choices and choose wisely, man. Be nice. Go play your guitar or your keyboards and have fun. Till next time, peace and love, everybody. I'm out. Thank you, brother. Talk to you soon.
Thanks.